Hey everybody, good morning. I made a goal for myself to make a YouTube video every day. Just one video, try to do something every single day. Uh, it's not the most important goal in my life right now. There's other things I have to take care of, so it might not actually happen. There's a lot of writing I have to do and a lot of other appointments and, run my business and stuff like that. But I'm gonna try to make a YouTube video every day. And I was thinking, okay, I can't make a video every single day about being a targeted individual or gang stalking, or I don't have enough information on that, and I also have to find some balance in my life, um, to where I'm not only focused on this thing that's going on. So that's what I'm trying to do. And one of the things I was thinking about was just telling some stories about some things that have happened in the past that seemed really surreal. Just either things that happened to me that seemed like they could be street theater, or it could just be an interesting coincidence because I was out doing something, right place, the right time, wrong place, wrong time, stuff like that. But when I was doing some writing this morning, I started writing down part of a story about when I met Jimmy Carter. So I just thought I'd tell this story. It's kind of a funny story. Well, I think I was in it, but anyway, okay. So here it goes. It starts with me being in the Air National Guard, Air Force, Air National. I don't know. Okay, I have to explain this to some of you that haven't been in the military or haven't even been. A lot of people in the military don't even know about the Guard or the Air National Guard, the Reserve, stuff like that. So, the Air National Guard, you go to basic training in San Antonio, Texas, just like everybody else that goes to active duty. So you go to the exact same basic training, and then you go to the exact same tech school, whatever training school you're going to work on, work for your job. You train at that job. You go to the exact same one that all the active duty people go to. So you have the identical training, and then they go to their active duty post, and then the Air National Guard or a reserve person goes to their duty post, which is usually in their hometown, and then they'll stay. The Air National Guard person or the Army Guard person, I don't know where they go to basic training and all this stuff, but the Air National Guard person will stay at their home base for their entire career. Sometimes they won't move. They join the Guard there because they have their other job, their full-time job in the civilian world, and they do their 1 week in the month, and then they do, it depends. Some people just have their full-time job, they only do their 1 week in a month. Some people have like a part-time job, and they work for the Guard as much as they can. Sometimes they call them Guard rats. I did this for a while. Worked as much as I could. Sometimes I worked 6 months out of the year for the Guard base, even though I wasn't an active duty troop at the time. I worked state active duty for 5 years full time out there when I was with the fire department. But then after that, when I was just a traditional guardsman, you could do special military orders, TDYs, did go on deployments, a bunch of different stuff to make extra money on duty. So anyway, so that's what you do. I don't even know why I just said that. That's what you do. I didn't write any of this down. I started writing some notes down for the story, and here's where I got. That's how far I got. So bear with me. I just have to remember this. This was a while ago. So anyway, I'm in the Air Force, in the Air National Guard, and it's time for me to get promoted to Staff Sergeant. So to become Staff Sergeant in the Air Force, you have to go to a thing called Airman Leadership School, ALS. And the school I went to is McGee Tyson Air Force Base in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know if there's other airman leadership schools throughout the United States, but that's the one I went to. And it was a really good school, good management school. I learned a lot of skills there that I still use today. I talked about some couple videos back when I ran my insurance agency. I used some of the management skills that I got at Airman Leadership School. And it was cool. Everybody there was excited because they're not gonna be an airman anymore, you know. No more, hey, airman, get me this. You know, it's sergeant after you leave. So you go through a bunch of training and get tested. You have to make it through some tests. Some people wash out, they don't make it, they have to go back and then try to go back to ALS. And then you go back to your duty base, and then they decide if they're going to give you your staff sergeant stripe or not. So anyway, so I went to McGee Tyson Air Force Base in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I had a really good class. There was like, oh gosh, what is 12, 14 of us, something like that in our class. We sat around in a circle, had 2 instructors. Master Sergeant Cripps and Staff Sergeant Thornton. And Thornton was the younger guy. And you weren't supposed to really fraternize with, like the instructor wasn't supposed to fraternize with the people in the class, but he was like younger than me. Got along with everybody in our class great. It was really fun, and we all became pretty good friends. And we wanted to hang out with Thornton. We knew he was a cool guy, but we couldn't because of you know, fraternization kind of thing. So when the class was over, we were done with school, and there was no more fraternization rule. We were done, so we all went out and partied with Sergeant Thornton. Hung out, got drunk. It's kind of typical. Do after some military training. A lot of military stuff. But I did that, and all of us in our class played a practical joke. I'm kind of feel like I'm going slow with this. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like think in my head and recall the story as I go. Maybe I should write this down next time. All right. So yeah, we went out all night. We drank. When we got back, Sergeant Thornton had a Jeep. He had his golf clubs in the back of the Jeep. We played a practical joke on him. We took his golf clubs out and stuck him like every which way through the like steering wheel and under his seat and just all over the place. His Jeep looked like a porcupine when we got done with it. And we did it because we liked him. I know it's kind of weird, but so anyway, we got done with that. Everybody was. It was probably 4 o'clock in the morning when we got back in. It was ridiculously early, not even late, early. And most of us had a flight out the next day, and I did. So I was flying from, let's see, I was supposed to fly from Knoxville to, shit, where did I fly to? Damn it, of course I'm blanking out now while I'm doing this video. There was a storm. Oh, I was supposed to fly to Dallas. I was supposed to fly from Knoxville to Dallas and then Dallas-Fort Worth to Fresno. And then there was a storm in Dallas, so we couldn't go to Dallas. So I got rerouted to Atlanta, Georgia for some reason. So and then from Atlanta, Georgia to LA to Fresno. So I go to Georgia on like a smaller airplane. I don't even remember what it was, if it was a RJ or a Brasilia, I don't know. Anyway, I get to Georgia. I'm still hungover. I'm still drunk, actually. I think everybody that I was with probably was at the time. So, but I get to Georgia, and I don't have my BDUs on. We were still wearing BDUs at the time. We hadn't crossed over to digitals yet. Got my BDUs on. I mean, I don't have my BDUs on, I'm sorry. And so I'm just standing in line to go check in, get my boarding pass. And I don't even know if I think I had my folder in my hand, or maybe my Airman Leadership School shirt on or something like that. But the desk clerk asked me, she goes, "Are you on orders?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Can I see them?" So I showed her my orders, and she goes, "Okay, here you go. I've upgraded you to first class." I was like, "Yes, first class. I've never sat in first class in my life. This is awesome." So I'm all pumped. I'm like, "I heard you get a hot washcloth in first class. You know, I heard you get like a real dinner. Like, would you like your steak cooked rare? You know, stuff like that." So I'm thinking about all that stuff, and thinking about some sleep too, and that awesome recliner they give you. I mean, like, there was some space on the side. It was pretty cool. Had my own TV, all that. So, but I'm by the window. So I get up on the plane, get my seat by the window, and I'm in not the very first row on the front right of the plane, but in the very second row of the plane. And I got a window seat, and I'm just relaxing. They're bringing drinks around and stuff, and I'm looking out the window, and I notice all these black SUVs parked, staged around the aircraft. And I've worked at airport for a long time at this point. As a sky cap, I've been out on the flight line plenty of times, helping people on the plane, taking them off. As a firefighter at the airport, I was out there plenty of times, and had never seen ever a bunch of black SUVs just parked by the jetway. So that kind of got my attention, and I was thinking, huh, who's here? I mean, I've seen the black SUVs when the Secret Service showed up to our base and stuff like that, and interviewed me, and all this different, when the president showed up to our base. That's a whole nother story. I'll tell that story later. So I'm checking out the SUVs, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. And then I'm start looking around the plane a little bit, and I notice not the seats directly in front of me, but the seat right across the row right here. There's a guy with a black suit on and a little curly Q earpiece sitting there. And I was like, huh, curly Q earpiece. That looks like some special agent or something, you know, some kind of security person. And then I looked at the seat in front of me, and I'm like, man, that guy looks really, really familiar. I don't even know if I should say who it is yet. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. So I'm being nosy, trying to figure out who it is, and guy's here, and he looks like his daughter, younger girl with him. Pretty sure it was his daughter. And he turns over to say something to his daughter, and I was like, holy shit, that's Warren Sapp. If you don't follow football, Warren Sapp was a really good football player. Played for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. TV personality, stuff like that. Anyway, I was like, Warren Sapp. I thought he was funny. But anyway, he's sitting in front of me in the airplane. So I'm like, all right, I'm chilling in first class in this airplane in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready to fly to LA. And Warren Sapp sitting in front of me, and this guy with the curly Q thing in his ear. And then next thing I know, those two guys start talking, and they both have PSPs, little mini video game players, whatever. They both have PlayStation handheld players. and they start talking to each other and stuff like that. And the next thing I know, they're in front of me. I mean, I got a front row seat to this. They start playing Tiger Woods golf or whatever, some kind of golf game against each other. They like link up and play golf. And so I'm like, all right, hey, the Secret Service guy is playing golf with Warren Sapp here. That's interesting. And I'm still kind of groggy. I hadn't been since sleep, maybe an hour or two, if that, something like that. Just been through 6 weeks of training. So I'm taking all of this in, and I'm looking out the window at the black SUVs. I'm sorry, it's hard not to laugh about this because it's I'm looking at the black SUVs, adjusting my little TV thing, messing with my TV, and I look up, and Jimmy Carter is standing right there. And I kind of like looked at him, like shook my head, and I'm like, oh, did I just see that? Adjust my TV a little bit, and I'm like, what is Jimmy Carter doing standing right there? So it turns out that Jimmy Carter was on the flight. I started talking to some people. Well, I talked to Jimmy Carter. Turns out he was on the flight. He was talking to his Secret Service guy, and he had given up his seat, and he went back and sat in coach, like way in the back, and let somebody way in back come in and sit in his seat, and told the Secret Service guy, screw it, no, just, there's probably somebody else sitting back there with him too, but. So anyway, he was making his lap around the plane, just like shaking hands, doing the politician thing, whatever, and came around the corner, talked to a Secret Service guy, and then he was like bullshitting with Warren Sapp. And so I'm sitting right behind Warren Sapp, and there's nobody sitting next to me still. So Jimmy Carter says hi to Warren Sapp, and then he comes around and he just leans over and he's like, "Hey, young man, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm a little tired. I stayed up a little late last night. Just got done with some training, and I did have my Airman Leadership School shirt on, and it says Air Force on it, Airman Leadership School." And he noticed that, and he said, "You're in the military?" I said, "Yeah, I'm in the Air Force. I just got done with this training." Told him what I did, and he was like, "Hey, well, congratulations. Thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you do." And the whole, it was pretty cool interaction. And then he walked back to his seat in coach, and then I sat there and kind of took all that in. And somebody eventually came and sat next to me, and we took off. The guys had to put their PlayStations away. We took off. Got in the air. Those guys turned their PlayStations on. Warren Sapp sat there and played golf with the Secret Service guy the whole flight. Joked around, talked, and I fell asleep. Unfortunately, man, I should have stayed awake that whole flight to just like people watch, see what was going on around there. But I slept for a while. We arrived in LA. And everybody got off the plane like normal, and I went back to Fresno. So, I'm trying to think if I left any important parts of that story out. Oh, while I was at McGee Tyson Air Force Base here, let's see if this is some information to prove I was there. They had a bartender there named Tiny, and he was literally almost 8 feet tall. He was the biggest person I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, he was the bartender at the base club. We'd go in the base club, you can get food, get drinks, you can go buy pitchers of beer and stuff like that. And actually I have a bunch of photos of that whole place. But Tiny was the bartender, and he was a giant. He was a giant. He was a giant. I probably shouldn't say this, but I got some moonshine while I was at that base. somebody had some moonshine and made some hot toddies, some Tennessee moonshine. That was really good. I don't drink anymore, but that was, I remember that being really damn good. Can't drink much of that. Don't do it. What other part of that story, or that trip am I missing out? Oh, I rented a Mustang one weekend while I was there, so I could just go drive around, check the place out. Hadn't been to Knoxville before, and there was a Buffalo Wild Wings. I think it was Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah, it was. It's the first time I'd been to one of those. And the building it was in had a big brick wall on the side, and there was parking up against that wall. And then there was other parking other places and stuff like that. But then there was a Taco Bell right there too. So I pulled my car in the parking lot over on this side on the brick wall, parked there. There was like a big white box van truck parked on the other side of me, a couple down from me. I went in Buffalo Wild Wings, and I went in there to play trivia. They had the trivia game. I wanted to go in there and hang out for a while, drink some water, hydrate, get some wings. And so I was in there for like probably 3 or 4 hours playing that trivia game against all the other people. And I went back outside, and my rental car was gone. Looking around going, I know I parked here. I know I parked here, what's going on? And then I look up, of course the box van's gone. And right past the box van, there are 3 signs that say, there's no sign where I can see anything. There's 3 signs that say, Taco Bell parking only, all violators will be towed. So my rental car has been towed to a place in, who knows, somewhere in Knoxville. So I have to figure out where figure out where the car is, go get the car, pay for that, and get my car, rental car out of the impound. That was an interesting one. Still not sure about that whole thing. At least I did well at trivia. Oh, see, this is where I had to just throw out random stuff because it's hard to remember all this stuff all at once. That trip was the first time, actually that was the first and only time that I have experienced sleep. What do you call it? When you sleep paralysis. So we lived in these old barracks while we were there, and it was 2 people to a room, and this was literally, it would look like an old couple. Twin bed here, nightstand in the middle, twin bed over here, and so you have bunkmate, whatever you call them. You share a bathroom, and my roommate was from Michigan. I don't know. It doesn't even matter where he's from. Anyway, he was a younger guy, kind of odd. He rode like crotch rockets, street bikes, and he said his shirt would always blow up in the back here. So he went down and got Carpe Diem tattooed right across his lower back. So when his shirt blew up, you could see that. I was trying to tell him, man, he was telling me that he was going to go get it, and I was like, I think they call that a tramp stamp. You might want to kind of check that out before you do that. I don't know, I don't want to be a dick about it, but I was trying to be helpful. So he got it. We did kind of fuck with him though, because we told him they spelled it wrong. But anyway, in that sorry, I'm just thinking about that story. Whenever there was like 5 people in the room, they were like, dude, they spelled it wrong. Just do stuff like that in the military, keep each other on their toes. But yeah, one night I was laying asleep, and I was just completely asleep. I remember waking up, opening my eyes, and being completely awake. And unless it was the most vivid dream I've ever had in my entire life, it had the number one most vivid dream. I don't think so. I woke up and I opened my eyes. I was laying there, basically just perfectly still. I just couldn't move. I couldn't move my head right, couldn't move my head left. I could use my peripheral. I couldn't move my eyes, but I could see out of my peripheral. I could see that my bunkmate was over there laying in bed asleep. It was perfectly quiet in the room, and it felt like there was like kind of a weight kind of pushing down on my entire body, like as if the blanket was over top of me and there was water on top of the blanket, just pushing down. Couldn't move at all. Really heavy. So I'm laying there, and I start to kind of freak out a little bit, and I thought, well, okay, I know from experience that if you panic, that's the absolute worst thing you can do. So, okay, just lay here and figure this out. What's going on? And I laid there, I didn't panic, and there was nothing odd going on around the room. I thought to myself, it could be some kind of medical condition, you know, something going on. And I just laid there for a while, and eventually I just fell back asleep. And then I woke up that morning, got up, got dressed, and went to school. And I still don't know what the... I've heard that can come be brought on by stress, the sleep paralysis. People have had visions and stuff like that while they have their sleep paralysis also. I didn't have any kind of visions. I just had the being paralyzed, being awake in the middle of the night and not being able to move at all. Feeling like there's, yeah, like you're buried in the sand, the beach. If you've ever had the privilege of doing that, it's pretty fun. If not, go try it. What else about that trip? Also, at that school, while I was walking down the hall at school, at Airman Leadership School, there's a big building. I shouldn't say big building. It's not too big. There's a building, and there are a bunch of different classrooms, and they don't just have, oh, battery's getting low. They don't just have Airman Leadership School. They have NCO Academy, Senior NCO Academy. NCO is non-commissioned officer. Senior NCO is senior non-commissioned officer. So if you're becoming a tech sergeant and or master sergeant, actually no, you get tech sergeant without going to NCO. So if you're going to become master sergeant, you have to go to NCO Academy. If you're going to become a senior master sergeant, you have to go to senior NCO Academy. And I can't remember if they have just chief school. I'm sure there's got to be a school when you become chief that you go to. It's E9. It's the highest enlisted you go to. But I was walking down the hallway, you know, before class, everybody would kind of gaggle out front, and people would know each other from other bases and stuff like that, and kind of intermingle and talk, and just, you know, you just talk to other people, you see their badge or whatever, and go, oh, hey, you're fire department? Hey, what's the word? What's up? Blah, blah, blah. You just talk about, you know, all kinds of different random stuff, and then, you know, then it gets time and everybody heads into class. But I was out there doing that, just talking to some random people, and this instructor walks by, and she's just walking along, like almost like she's in a hurry. She's got some papers. She's cruising along, getting ready to go to her class. And she like looks up, walks by, looks up, sees me, and she stops dead in her tracks. She goes, "Now, what are you doing here again?" I was like, "What do you mean? Out here in the hallway? I stand out here every day before class." She goes, "No, what are you doing here again? You were here last." She said a month, or I don't know, like a few months ago, or last year, or something like that. And I go, no, never been here. No. She goes, "No, you've been here. It's you. You know, it's like trying to convince me that I'd been here. And I was like, ah, well, I guess I have a twin then. Just, you know, like try not to escalate anything, not make a scene, or, you know, like, look, lady, I haven't fucking been here. Sorry about my mouth. Profanity alert. Just happens. Well, it just doesn't happen. But I apologize to any of you who are offended by me expressing myself. And then I can't remember if it was before or after that when I was at the CBRNE class, chemical, biological, nuclear, radioactive, explosive class. I had to get trained in some of that stuff. A little manual, how to decontaminate yourself, put on your PPE, all that stuff. Your PPE is your personal protective equipment. There's this poster, life-size poster of this guy wearing his personal protective equipment, his charcoal jacket, charcoal pants, plastic boots that we have, rubber boots, all this good stuff, rubber gloves, gas mask. And I walk into the classroom for the CBRNE training, and I immediately look at the stand-up poster guy. I think I talked about this in another video too, but I'm looking at him going, when the hell did I take that picture? I usually remember if I have my photograph taken in the studio setting with lighting like that, I remember the photo shoot because I was either part of it setting up the lighting, and I either did it myself or I would have remembered doing this. And I'm looking at it, and I believe it was my Senior Master Sergeant Drudge, my boss at the time. I was looking at it, and I go, when did we do this photo? Because we usually, if I did a project, it was with him or a guy named Sergeant Leffler. Usually tried to talk, I didn't do much with Vaughn, tried to stay away from him. Christian Jadot, they were all one of the guys that would have taken that photo with in the studio. And they were all there in CBRNE training with me. And maybe not all of them, but I was asking them, like, when did we do this photo? And this guy goes, oh, that's Staff Sergeant Sam Love. He's from Florida. So I'm guessing that guy went to Airman Leadership School. Before I did, and that lady saw me and had seen him, and I mean, shit, if I thought that guy looked identical to me, I'm me. You know, a lot of people would say, you guys look just alike, and then the people that look at you, you know, like, no, we don't. So either they were playing some kind of massive trick on me, or I have a twin brother, or there's just somebody that happens to be my doppelganger that is in the Air Force at the same time as me. This picture shows up at my base. I don't know. I don't know. Guess I'm kind of going off on a tangent from the McGee Tyson Air Force Base trip. What other things happened there? My girlfriend Stephanie flew out to visit when I was there on it was St. Patrick's Day. She came out for St. Patrick's Day, and we went out and had a good time. That was fun. Let's see. That's it. Let's see. I was trying to think. Somebody bought us dinner in the airport, but that was on a different trip. Yeah, that was coming back from Fort Meade. All right. Well, that's all of the interesting stuff from that trip. I'm gonna get some stuff started today. It's morning. It's morning time. Gotta get some work done. I guess 35 minutes is a decent time for a video, long enough for somebody to watch, not take forever. All right. I know somebody's gonna ask me where I got my T-shirt. I just got online, and I can't even think of the name of the website. But there's a bunch of websites out there that you can just go on and buy a T-shirt for like 10 or 11 bucks, have it shipped to your front door, and just type in the font, whatever. So I just got this one. I typed in targeted individual. I got another one that said, I tried to get another one that said, nice timing on that hand signal. And I submit, ordered and everything, and I thought I paid for it, and I waited and waited, and I was like, where the hell is that shirt? And it never showed up, and it never got charged to my account. So I don't know what happened with that. So I never got that one. But yeah, you can just go online. If I can remember the website or just the name of the company, I'll post it on this video. I'll type it in. All right, everybody, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed my my story about meeting Jimmy Carter and Warren Sapp. Take it easy.